Imagine a rivalry so intense that it doesn't just divide a state, it defines it. Picture a stadium split by pride, noise, and decades of unforgettable chaos, where anything can happen, and usually does. That's the energy we're stepping into today. From last-second heartbreaks to wild celebrations that became memes overnight. The story of Ole Miss football and its fiery clash with Mississippi State isn't just sports. It's culture, identity, and pure Southern electricity. And if you think you know how deep this rivalry goes, trust me, there's a whole lot more beneath the surface, and we're about to uncover it. Ole Miss football is more than a team. It's a tradition woven into the heartbeat of Mississippi. There's a swagger to Ole Miss, a mix of history, heartbreak, and high expectations that make every season feel like a fresh chance at redemption. But no matter how good or bad a year is going, there's always one game circled in red. The Egg Bowl, a matchup that turns neighbors into enemies, transforms quiet towns into battlegrounds, and gives birth to moments that live on for years. Whether it's legendary plays, stunning upsets, or celebrations that cost teams the game, this rivalry has produced some of the wildest scenes in college football. Today, we're going to break down why Ole Miss versus Mississippi State is one of the most explosive traditions in American sports and how it became a symbol of pride, passion, and unstoppable energy in a state where football isn't just a pastime, it's a way of life. The story of Ole Miss versus Mississippi State begins long before packed stadiums and national broadcasts. It starts in 1901, when football was rough, simple, and played more for pride than trophies. These two schools weren't just competing for wins, they were competing for identity in a state that was still shaping its cultural voice. Ole Miss, with its deep Southern traditions, carried a sense of established prestige, while Mississippi State represented grit, agriculture, and the working-class backbone of the region. From the first kickoff, it was clear this wasn't just a game. It was a clash of personalities, values, and fan bases who couldn't be more different. Early matchups were intense, physical, and often unpredictable. Even then, the energy was unmistakable. The winner wasn't just claiming bragging rights, they were claiming ownership of Mississippi football for the year. As both programs grew, so did the rivalry. Stories of heated crowds, emotional reactions, and bold predictions filled newspapers long before social media existed. By the mid-20th century, the matchup earned a name that perfectly captured its spirit, the Egg Bowl. And from that moment on, every meeting wasn't just a game, but a battle for legacy, pride, and the right to say, "We run this state." If there's one thing the Egg Bowl guarantees, it's chaos. Some rivalries are predictable, but Ole Miss versus Mississippi State has delivered moments so wild they've become legend. One of the most unforgettable scenes came in 2019, when Elijah Moore celebrated a last-minute touchdown by mimicking a dog urinating in the end zone. That split-second decision turned excitement into disaster, resulting in a penalty that pushed back the extra point. Mississippi State fans watched in disbelief as Ole Miss missed the kick and lost the game. And that's just one example. Go back to 2007. When Mississippi State pulled off an unbelievable comeback with a blocked field goal and a 50-yard game winner that stunned Ole Miss. Or revisit 1997, the infamous fight game, where emotions exploded and both teams collided in a moment that still defines the rivalry's raw unpredictability. Even turn-of-the-century games were filled with drama, late turnovers, bizarre plays, and momentum swings that felt scripted by Hollywood. The Egg Bowl isn't just football, it is a yearly reminder that anything can happen when these two teams line up across from each other. Fans don't just watch for the score, they watch for the next moment that will leave the entire country talking. Modern Ole Miss football has entered a new era, one shaped by explosive offense, a fiery culture, and the unmistakable influence of Lane Kiffin. Since taking over, Kiffin has brought swagger back to Oxford, turning the Rebels into a team that plays fast, aggressive, and unapologetically bold. Whether it's creative play calling, fearless fourth-down attempts, or recruiting strategies that tap into national talent, Ole Miss looks and feels different now. Their identity revolves around speed and intensity. With offenses built to score quickly and defenses designed to create chaos, recent seasons have produced double-digit wins, bowl game success, and a renewed belief that Ole Miss can compete with the SEC's toughest programs. Standout players from dynamic quarterbacks to NFL-ready receivers have become the face of this resurgence. The fan base feels energized, expectations are higher, and big moments no longer feel out of reach. And when it comes to the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss enters each year with a sharpened edge, knowing that beating Mississippi State isn't just important, it's essential to maintaining the program's momentum and swagger. Today's Ole Miss football program is hungry, confident, and aiming for something bigger than bragging rights, a permanent seat at the national conversation. Mississippi State football has been navigating a transitional phase, but the program's identity remains grounded in toughness, discipline, and resilience. Coaching changes have shifted philosophies in recent years, from the air raid era to a more balanced, physical approach. Even with challenges, the Bulldogs continue to produce standout talent, especially on defense, where their reputation for developing hard-hitting, relentless players remains strong. Recent seasons may have had ups and downs, but Mississippi State never loses its competitive edge, especially in rivalry matchups. The program's commitment to rebuilding, retooling, and competing in an increasingly brutal SEC is clear through its recruiting efforts and its emphasis on developing homegrown Mississippi talent. Fans know that regardless of record, the Bulldogs enter the Egg Bowl with a mindset built on grit and revenge. This program thrives on proving people wrong, upsetting expectations, and delivering performances that shock bigger-name opponents. And with new leadership steering the team, the path forward focuses on restoring consistency, sharpening identity, and returning to the physical, punishing football Mississippi State is known for. Whether they're in a rebuilding year or a breakout season, one truth never changes. The Bulldogs treat the Ole Miss game as their biggest stage, and they always show up ready to fight. As college football continues to evolve, the future of the Ole Miss versus Mississippi State rivalry promises even more intensity, drama, and unpredictability. With NIL shaping where top players choose to play, recruiting battles in Mississippi have become wars fought on social media, in living rooms, and across campuses. SEC expansion means tougher schedules, new opponents, and shifting power dynamics, but the Egg Bowl remains untouchable. It will always be the emotional anchor of both programs, the game that defines seasons regardless of national rankings. Over the next decade, expect even bigger swings in momentum. Ole Miss may rise into consistent national contention under its modern offensive identity, while Mississippi State aims to rebuild into a defensive powerhouse that can shock higher-ranked teams. Technology, fan engagement, and national attention will continue to amplify every controversy, every big play, every storyline. And as both programs push to carve out their place in a rapidly changing SEC landscape, the Egg Bowl will only grow more intense. The future isn't just about who wins, it's about which program claims the state, recruits the stars, and writes the next unforgettable chapter in a rivalry that has never failed to deliver chaos, passion, and statewide electricity. When you look at everything, the history, the heartbreaks, the wild finishes, and the raw emotion, it becomes clear why the Ole Miss versus Mississippi State rivalry stands among the most electric in college football. This isn't just a matchup that happens once a year. It's a moment that defines a state, fuels generations of pride, and turns ordinary Saturdays into something unforgettable. No matter how each team's season is going, the Egg Bowl always manages to flip the script, rewrite expectations, and deliver drama that fans talk about for years. Ole Miss brings its swagger, Mississippi State brings its grit, and together they create a collision that captures the heart of Mississippi football. As both programs continue to evolve, the future promises even more iconic moments, more surprises, more tension, and more reasons for fans to circle that date on the calendar. Whether you cheer for the Rebels, the Bulldogs, or just love the chaos of college football, one thing's for sure, this rivalry isn't slowing down anytime soon. So if you've got your own favorite Egg Bowl memory or prediction for the next showdown, drop it in the comments below. And remember, no matter who wins, the battle for Mississippi pride is never truly over.